In the mid-1990s, America stopped and held its breath. Television screens across the nation and around the world were locked onto one of the most sensational trials in modern history. A beloved football star and actor, O.J. Simpson, was accused of a brutal double murder. It wasn't just a criminal case, it was a cultural earthquake. The trial revealed deep racial divides, raised questions about celebrity, wealth, justice, and media, and forever changed how America viewed its own legal system. This is the story of the trial of the century. Stay with me as we unravel the timeline, the shocking evidence, the unforgettable moments in court, and the verdict that shook the world. Background: Ronald James Simpson, better known as O.J., wasn't just famous, he was adored. Born in 1947, Simpson rose from a tough upbringing in San Francisco to become a college football superstar at USC. In 1968, he won the Heisman Trophy, cementing his place in sports history. His professional NFL career with the Buffalo Bills turned him into a household name. His charisma extended beyond the football field. He became an actor, a broadcaster, and the face of multiple commercials. But behind the glamorous image, O.J.'s personal life was complicated. In 1977, Simpson married Nicole Brown. Their relationship was stormy, marked by repeated allegations of abuse. Police were called to their home multiple times. Friends of Nicole later testified that she lived in fear. In 1992, Nicole divorced O.J., but their lives remained entangled. Just 2 years later, tragedy struck. The murders. On the night of June 12, 1994, Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend, Ronald Goldman, were brutally murdered outside Nicole's home in Brentwood, Los Angeles. Nicole was found at the bottom of her front steps, nearly decapitated. Goldman, a 25-year-old waiter who had gone to Nicole's house to return a pair of glasses, was stabbed repeatedly. The scene was gruesome. Blood trails, footprints, and evidence suggested a violent struggle. Almost immediately, suspicion turned toward O.J. Simpson. He had no alibi, and his history of domestic violence was no secret. Within days, prosecutors prepared to charge him with double murder. The Bronco chase. On June 17, 1994, the drama reached cinematic levels. Instead of turning himself in, O.J. fled in a white Ford Bronco, driven by his friend Al Cowlings. The slow-speed chase lasted more than an hour, with police cars following while helicopters broadcasted the scene live. An estimated 95 million Americans watched as O.J., holding a gun to his head, rode through Los Angeles. Highways were shut down. Bars, restaurants, and even sports events turned their TVs to the chase. Eventually, Simpson surrendered at his Brentwood home. Inside the Bronco, police found a fake passport, $8,000 in cash, a disguise, and a gun items prosecutors would later argue proved he planned to flee the country. The chase transformed the case into a national obsession. The trial begins. The trial officially began in January 1995 at the Los Angeles County Superior Court. Presiding was Judge Lance Ito, a man who would become as famous as the lawyers before him. The prosecution was led by Marcia Clark and Christopher Darden. They presented O.J. as a jealous, abusive ex-husband who finally acted on his rage. The defense team, nicknamed the Dream Team, included legendary attorneys like Johnnie Cochran, Robert Shapiro, F. Lee Bailey, Alan Dershowitz, and Robert Kardashian. Their strategy was clear: discredit the prosecution's evidence and suggest O.J. was the victim of racist police corruption. The stage was set for one of the most dramatic trials in history. The evidence. The prosecution had what seemed like overwhelming evidence. At the crime scene, police found a bloody glove. The matching glove was discovered at O.J.'s estate. Blood samples linked to Simpson, Nicole, and Goldman were found in and around his property. Bloody footprints matched O.J.'s rare size 12 Bruno Magli shoes. A trail of blood led from the crime scene to O.J.'s driveway. DNA analysis, still relatively new to jurors at the time, showed strong matches between Simpson and the samples. On paper, the case looked airtight. But then came the defense. The defense strategy. The Dream Team attacked the credibility of the Los Angeles Police Department. Central to their strategy was Detective Mark Fuhrman, the officer who discovered the glove at Simpson's estate. The defense portrayed him as a racist cop who planted evidence to frame a black celebrity. Later, recordings of Fuhrman using racial slurs emerged, damaging the prosecution's credibility beyond repair. Johnnie Cochran, a master of courtroom theatrics, turned the trial into a broader conversation about race, police corruption, and injustice. His famous line, "If it doesn't fit, you must acquit," was a devastating blow to the prosecution's case. And then there was the glove. The glove moment. In one of the most unforgettable moments in legal history, the prosecution asked O.J. to try on the bloody glove found at the crime scene. Before a stunned courtroom, Simpson struggled to put it on. The glove appeared too small. His fingers bent awkwardly as he told the jury, "They're too tight." The defense seized the moment. Cochran repeated his line, "If it doesn't fit, you must acquit." That single demonstration may have changed the entire outcome of the trial. The media circus. The trial wasn't just a legal battle, it was a spectacle. Every moment was broadcast on live television. Networks provided wall-to-wall coverage. Newspapers sold millions of copies. Talk shows, late-night comedians, and magazines fed the frenzy. America was divided. Many white Americans believed O.J. was guilty. Many black Americans believed he was framed. The trial became more than just about murder. It was a referendum on race, justice, celebrity, and the credibility of the police. The verdict. On October 3, 1995, after more than 8 months of testimony and just 4 hours of deliberation, the jury returned with a verdict. As millions watched live, the clerk announced, "Not guilty." Nicole Brown Simpson's family gasped in shock. O.J. broke down in tears. The nation erupted in arguments, debates, and disbelief. For some, the verdict was a victory for justice, a black man finally beating a corrupt system. For others, it was a grave miscarriage of justice that allowed a guilty man to walk free. Aftermath. The trial may have ended, but the controversy didn't. In 1997, the families of Nicole Brown and Ronald Goldman filed a civil lawsuit against O.J. Simpson. Unlike criminal court, the civil trial required a lower standard of proof. This time, Simpson was found liable for the wrongful deaths and ordered to pay $33.5 million in damages. He never fully paid the damages, living a controversial life after the trial. In 2007, O.J. was arrested in Las Vegas for armed robbery and kidnapping during an attempt to retrieve sports memorabilia he claimed was stolen. In 2008, he was sentenced to up to 33 years in prison. He served 9 before being released on parole in 2017. Today, O.J. Simpson remains a free man, but his reputation is forever tied to the trial of the century. Legacy. The O.J. Simpson trial left lasting marks on America. It highlighted how race and wealth could shape outcomes in the justice system. It changed the role of DNA evidence in trials. It showed the power and dangers of media sensationalism. Above all, it reminded the world that truth and justice don't always align neatly inside a courtroom. Decades later, the case is still studied, debated, and remembered as one of the most extraordinary trials in history. So what do you think? Was O.J. Simpson guilty and simply saved by great lawyers? Or was he the victim of a racist system determined to bring him down? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into true crime history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more stories just like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.